I'm here for this week's live book review. This week we were supposed to do Stolen Colors. That was going to be the book review for this week. And while I highly recommend this book and we are going to review it later this summer, I decided last minute to change the book that I was reviewing because I was just at a FIFA World Cup event with my kids and I was just so glad that I had a way to contact them in case they got lost. And I realized that actually the book that I should review is a book that is an oldie but goodie. And I want to make sure that you all know about it. And that book is called A Little Book About Safety. So this book is, I will get that set up for you right now. Sorry, I'm working from home and my kid just popped in to remind me that I owe him some screen time, which I will do in a second. But the reason why I wanted to review this book is because it talks about what to do if your child gets lost. And because it's summer and because a lot of families are traveling and there are places like amusement parks, water parks, events, concerts that are happening all summer long that are family friendly, but also quite busy because they're so family friendly, kids get lost. And it's sort of the inevitable thing that can happen unless you are physically tethered to your child, which some parents do, where they have harnesses that are for kids, just, especially like in those toddler years, they could just run off and they can very easily get lost, right? Even with our best efforts, it's happened to me. And I know many moms and parents and dads that it has also happened to. So, it's something that we need to be aware of. There are different tips depending on the kind of thing that you're traveling to, if it's something local versus if you're traveling, going to the airport and you're flying and, things like that. And also, of course, depending on your child's age. So this is the season. So that was why I was like, you know what? The book that I remember was helpful for me and has been helpful for many parents is this one, A Little Book About Safety. This is by the Mother Company. So it's a group that has I think they're dissolved. I'm not sure if the company is still going. I know that their products are still for sale, so I'm assuming that they are, but they haven't created anything new recently. But they have a really great series that actually was also on Netflix called Ruby's Studio, and they also had a sorry, lots of things going off at the moment. Um, they also had a episode on safety from Ruby's Safety. So I wanted to make sure that I checked out this book with you and that you make sure that you get it, if especially because if your child is between the ages of, I would say, like 3, 4 and up, this is a great book, even for up to about 6 or 7 years old. A really helpful book for parents. So I want to make sure that you know about it, that you can get your hands on it. I will link it in the description below after this video if you guys want to get direct access. Okay, so just tapping this thing real quick here so we can get going. Thanks for your patience. By the way, if you're new to me, I'm Rosalia Rivera. I'm the founder of Consent Parenting. This is my Substack account where I share more deep dives on a lot of the work that I talk about, which is body safety for families and making sure that we are helping to protect kids from child SA. Because unfortunately, it is more prevalent than people want to admit, realize, or consider because they don't like the stats and they just want to pretend it's not a thing. But it is. And so the more that we can educate ourselves, educate our kids, and educate the adults in our kids' lives, the lower those numbers get because education means prevention. Okay, let's dive into the book. So normally what I do if you're new to one of my book reviews is we go through the book together and I give you some tips on how to best utilize it. And then you can decide if this is a book for you. So what I also like about this is it's based, a lot of it is like summer kind of based, and that's really the time to use this book. So it says, Meet my friend Hugo. He's 6 years old today. He's going to swim with his family. Let's count all the ways Hugo keeps himself safe. So they're like, let's go, hippos. So really cute illustrations, really clean and neat. Um, so it says Hugo loves the warm sand and the salty air. He's so excited and can't wait to dive into the water. The hippo family meets a family goose at the entrance. Welcome to the Happy Herd community pool, she says. Name and phone number, please. Hugo tries to answer he says, my name is Hugo Hippo and my phone number is 508-555 ... Oh my gosh, sorry. Um, then it says all the numbers start mixing up in his head. Hugo can't remember his phone number. Mama Hippo is there to help. It's 508-555-0873. She gives Hugo a big hug. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Okay, I think we are having technical issues today. I'm gonna keep trying to roll with this. It says maybe we just need to keep practicing it. So Hugo goes into the changing room. Oh, and then it says safety tip number one here, which is important. It says it's helpful to know your safe adult's name and phone number. So getting into the practice of teaching your child their phone number, right? Hugo goes into the changing room and puts on his favorite blue swim trunks. He's ready to swim. Ta-da! Safety tip number two, the parts of your body covered by your bathing suit are private. So just a little reinforcement on the lessons of private part safety. I'm heading over to the diving board, Dad, Hugo says. Okay, I'll watch you from here, Daddy Hippo replies. Safety tip number three, make sure you can always see your safe adult and they can always see you. So these are, of course, really important little safety tips and reminders. And it says Hugo decides today he's going on the super sky high diving board. He climbs the stairs all the way to the tippy top. But once Hugo gets to the top, he feels scared. He gets shaky and his tummy feels tingly. Uh-oh, no way. Too high, he thinks, and decides to climb back down. Safety tip number four, it's okay to say no if you are scared or something feels uncomfortable. Pay attention to your uh-oh feeling inside and take action to keep yourself safe. As Hugo goes down the stairs, he isn't scared anymore. He stops shaking and his tummy feels fine. Smart choice, dude, the toad says to Hugo. You can try again when you're bigger, adds the cricket by his side. Yeah, Hugo replies. He knows he made a safe decision. So always reminding kids to listen to their body, to trust themselves, and not to be pressured. As Hugo gets ready to jump off the lower diving board, two sneaky monkeys swing down and tickle him. Safety tip number five. Remember, you are the boss of your own body, and it's okay to say stop to anyone, even a bigger kid or a grown up. No one should touch you in any way you don't like. Stop that, Hugo says. Keep your hands to yourself, silly monkeys. The monkeys say sorry and leave Hugo alone. Cannonball. Hugo takes a running start, bounces on the board, and flies into the water with a big splash. After a short swim, Hugo sees an ostrich next to the pool selling ice cream. Slug pops, bugsicles, frog tongue slurpees, calls the ostrich. And then he says, could you do me a favor and go get me more bugsicles for my truck? The ostrich says to Hugo, I'll give you a free slug pop if you do. It'll be our little secret. So Hugo thinks about what the ostrich asked him to do. Even though Hugo loves slug pops, is it safe to go to the parking lot by himself? Safety tip number six, grown-ups you don't know really shouldn't ask you for help and they shouldn't ask you to keep secrets either. No, says Hugo, I have to go check with my parents first. Safety tip number seven, thumbs up, Hugo. If anyone, even someone you already know, asks you to go anywhere or do anything unexpected, check with a safe adult first. And that's such an important lesson that I think not enough people teach their kids. Hugo tries to find his family, but he doesn't see them anywhere. He feels scared. Where are they? And so this is where, your kid could get lost. It could be at the beach. It could be anywhere, right? Of course. So he starts yelling, Mama. Safety tip number eight, if you ever get lost, just stop where you are and yell for your safe adult. A lot of kids will start walking around looking for their parents. So you want to, oh my goodness. ah, there we go. Okay. My computer keeps shutting off. It keeps going to sleep. I think it's overheating maybe. So we want to make sure that we are telling kids to stay put, stay where they are. Don't go looking for mom and dad. Just stay where you are. Yell. Ideally, yell the name of your parent if you know the parent's name. A lot of people will stop more than if it's just like mom, mom. They assume that the parent is around. But if you're saying the name or the full name, that's even better. So, and of course, teaching kids to look for a safe mom with children. So it says it here, safety tip number 9. If yelling doesn't work, you can also ask a mom with kids for help or a woman with kids for help. Hugo sees a little mouse mama having lunch with her tiny mouse babies. Maybe she can help Hugo find his family. Excuse me, ma'am, he asks, can you help me find my parents? Why, of course, Sonny, the mama mouse replies, taking out her tiny phone. Do you know their number? Hugo freezes. He can do it. Will he remember? He concentrates really hard. 508 555. This is the part he always forgets, but not this time. 0873. Hugo smiles from ear to ear. He finally remembered Mama Hippo's phone number. Hello, Mama answers. Hugo turns his head and sees that she is right behind him. Mama, he says, and runs into her arms. Mama hugs her little hippo tightly. I'm so proud of you, she says. Hugo hugs her back. I love you, Mama, he replies. Hugo spends the rest of the day playing by the water with his family, confident that all his smart choices will keep him strong, happy, and safe. Safety tip number 10, when we make smart safety choices, we can all live happy, healthy lives together. So, of course, happy ending. And then there's info here on the back for parents and teachers. So, nothing is more important than keeping our kids safe. This little book about safety offers a modern, empowering approach to kids' personal safety. Of course, this is kind of just an overview. There are so many more details that need to be taught about safety. This really is just kind of an overview, a reminder when you're out and about, right? You're traveling with family to the beach, to a festival, a carnival, a concert, an amusement park, wherever it is. It's important to remember these things like your phone number, what to do if you get lost, that if somebody asks you to keep a secret or asks you for help and it's a grown up, that's not something that you should do. You should check in with an adult, with a grown up, right? Your safe adult. So lots of really great lessons, really cute illustrations. And I think it's just a great reminder before you're going to go to a concert. If you are planning on that, if you're going to be traveling, taking, a train, an airplane, a road trip, whatever it is, safety lessons are important. And these books can be great reminders of those lessons. So if you're even driving on a road trip, give them the book in the back after you've read it so that they're looking through those photos, they're remembering the connection to you reading them, and it's just a good reinforcer and anchor of that information. So one of the books that I recommend for this summer for your safety library that I always recommend you continue to grow. And I will be coming back to Stolen Colors later this summer, probably closer to the summer ending, because this book has to do with like the idea of a teacher. And so these are good, not anything negative. Again, we're not trying to scare kids. We're not trying to like put things in their head that's going to make them worry about everything in the world. That's not the purpose of body safety education. It's supposed to be empowering. But this is a really good book just because she is unsure of what to do in a particular situation. And so it really helps kids figure out, what is the next step if I come across something like this, right? And kids, I think a lot of times parents are like, I don't want to introduce the idea of a bad person. This book doesn't introduce that idea necessarily, but these ideas are introduced just inherently in all kinds of stories, whether you're watching a cartoon movie together or a storybook. There's always, an arc of characters and of, conflict that gets resolved. And helps kids really understand how to move through challenges. So the same applies with these body safety education books that can be really helpful tools to illustrate to a child this information in a way that isn't just like teaching them the concepts or the lessons, but incorporating them into a story format that they can relate to. So I hope that that was helpful for this week's uh, body safety book review. I do book reviews every week. And if you are a paid subscriber, you get access to all of them. If you are a free member, you get access to one per month. So this is the free one for this month. I hope that it was helpful and that it helps keep your family safe in your travels this summer. I'm Rosalia Rivera. If you have books that you'd like me to review, please post them in the comments and let me know, and I will be sure to review those in some coming weeks. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.